Hello students. So in today's lecture, let us have some idea about the particle morphology. The particle morphology or shape of the soil particles highly influence the behavior of soil. That means the strength, the other properties, all the aspects depend on the particle morphology. So what all factors influence the particle shape? The first one is mineralogy. For example, the crystal structure, cleavage planes, etc. Already you have gone through the notes provided for the mineralogy, like the clay mineralogy and all. And already we have studied about the various ways in which soil is formed. So first such as medium of transportation can have influence, and also the particle size also have great significance on the particle morphology. So based on the scaling of the particle, if you take at this particular scale of a particular particle, then if you see the overall shape, you can classify as bulky, platy, elongated, etc. And if you go to the intermediate shapes, then based on the sharp corners or edges, you can classify it as angular or rounded. And at a very small scale, based on the texture, you can identify the particle. See, if you see any soil particle, you will never find a particle which is exactly spherical. So obviously, if you deviate from non-clay minerals, most of the particles are bulky in size, and you can't say that the particles are of same shape or same size. Dimensions are entirely different, maybe tabular or elongated or rolled, etc. So the overall shape is often quantified as quantified using the terminology called sphericity. That means how close the particle is approaching to a spherical shape. So sphericity means it is definitely the dimension expressed in terms of three axes. Like here, let us see that along the y-axis the dimension, the size is A. Along the, say let this be the x-axis, then it is B, and along the z-axis it is C. So you are having the particle size dimension in three sizes. The height, you take it as height is A, width is B, and along the z-axis the width is C. So this is a conceptual measurement of a pebble. If you take in a small pebble, then we see the dimensions like this. Now why I am showing this? Because in order to find the sphericity, you need these terms A, B and C. So according to Wadel, the sphericity can be expressed using this expression, that is psi is equal to ABC by A cube the whole raised to 1 by 3. So here in this figure you can see A is the largest dimension, and he has taken it as, you multiply all the dimensions, then you have a volume of that pebble or a particle, then you take the maximum dimension and take the cube root, divide with that cube root, then you take the divide with the cube of that maximum. That means the maximum volume that can be attained by that particle, because if A is the maximum size, if you take A cube, then that is the maximum volume, and you take the cube root. So that is how he has arrived at this particular equation. So this one expression can be used to get the define the shape of the particle. Now another scientist, Zing, he classified the shape based on the ratios. For example, ratio of B by A and as well as C by A. So let us see how he arrived at the various shapes of soil particles based on that particular intercept approach. So that means it is actually the ratio of the intercepts he has adopted, and here you can see based on this B by A and C by B, he has a graph, and in this graph he divided it into 4 quadrants, and you can see here this is one particular size, the main size he took 0.67 for B by A and 0.67 for C by B, and if it falls in this range, then that particle is having a disc shape, and if it is falls in this range, that is B by A less than 0.67 and C by B less than 0.67, then it will have a blade shape. And to get a spherical shape, that means B by A and both C by B must be in the range of up to 1. Then we can say that it is in a spheroid. And if you have a very high B by A here, you have a very high C by B, and the B by A is limited to up to 0.67, then it is having a rod-like shaped, or we call it as roller shaped particles. So this is how Xing classified the grain shapes based on the ratio of intercepts. Now moving on to the sharpness of edges and corners. So that is termed as roundness. That means the sharpness of edges and corners of a particle is quantified in terms of roundness. And Waddell defined roundness using the following expression. Here you can see roundness is given as summation Ri by capital R from I equal to 1 to n divided by n, where Ri is the radius of curvature of particle corners, capital R is the radius of the largest inscribed sphere, and n is the number of particle corners measured, as shown in this figure. I will show you the figure. So here you have R1, R2, R3, R4. These are the various Ra values, and this is the radius of that largest circle, that is capital R, and you have the number of corners here. So from that you can get the roundness of that particular soil particle. That parameter can be obtained. Now Powers in 1953 developed another way of finding the sphericity of a particle based on these edges and corners, that just by visual examination. So here in this figure you can see the particle which is some close to a sphere, he is giving the tag of high sphericity, and particles which are slightly elongated, he is classifying them as with low sphericity. And here he is also giving the roundness indices. That means for very angular, the roundness index varies from 0.1 to 2.17, where for well rounded, the roundness index is ranging from 0.7 to 1. So this is just by a visual examination, so it gives a quick and easy way to estimate the particle shape in 2 dimensions, and that also helps to make some comparison with the 2 different particles. So surface texture, regarding surface texture, I already explained in the previous class that a lot of factors influence the surface texture of a soil particle, mainly the abrasion, impact, the solubility, precipitation, etc. Already it was discussed in the formation side. And here surface textures, definitely there are rough surface texture. You can have smooth, straighted, pitted, etc. And when a grain is immediately formed at the parent location, definitely it will have a rough texture, and as it transports based on various sources, the texture may change, and the smoother or polished texture is generally obtained after some due course of transportation. So here for a fine grained coastal dune, in this figure you can see the SEM images, that how the texture is seen from using at the micro level observations. Now let us see the particle morphology on the soil behavior. So the major influence is generally observed for the coarse grain soil. Some of the points here we will discuss. The first one is the shape of the grain has profound influence on the packing of the grains. So shape has considerable influence on the packing. That, or what is packing actually? Packing, closely packed, means the density is high, so it is indirectly linked to the density of the coarse grain particles. So here you can see the ratio on the y-axis, the void ratio is plotted. On the x-axis, you have the coefficient of uniformity for various particles. That means for rounded, angular, subangular, etc. So here these curves indicate the shape of the particle, and here in the y-axis, for a given coefficient of uniformity, you have the void ratio. So what the graph indicate? The sphericity as well as the roundness have significant influence on the void ratios, both the maximum and the minimum void ratio. So what is the maximum void ratio? Maximum void ratio is the void ratio in the loosest state, and minimum void ratio is the void ratio is in the densest state. So when all the other properties are remaining the same, the void ratio, both the maximum and the minimum void ratio decrease as the roundness is decreasing. So here you can see the roundness values. So roundness will increase. Here for example, let us see a perfectly rounded soil particle. If you see, both the maximum and minimum void ratios are at a lower level, whereas if you see the angular particle, you have the higher void ratio for the as well as for the maximum as well as the minimum void ratio. Next is the effect of particle morphology on the strength of the soil, that means the shear strength or the angle of internal friction. So here you can see based on roundness how the constant volume frictional angle is related. So if the roundness is increasing, the frictional angle will reduce. So it is quite common sense that if you are having angular particles, definitely there will be good interlocking and it will provide higher shear strength. So obviously for angular shaped particles of sands, gravel, etc., they will be having higher shear strength compared to the rounded particles. Similarly, if you take the soils with high roundness, high sphericity, and if they are having a smooth texture, definitely the shear strength will be low. That means the angle of internal friction is low. Here you can see a purely rounded particle where the roundness is 1. You can see the angle of internal friction is 20 degree. Whereas if the roundness is almost 0, you have the angle of internal friction more than 40. Similarly, these angular soil particles, they tend to get crushed when the stresses are increased. So at normal stress or low stress levels, there will be good interlocking between the grains and they won't get crushed and they will maintain the strength. But if the stress keeping on increasing, and what will happen is that they get more compressible and deformable because of the grain crushing effect. The grains get crushed due to the increase in the normal stress. Another aspect is the particle size and the particle size distribution. So a particular soil deposit, if you see, it has various particle sizes in a particular soil, if you take a representative soil from any soil deposit. So according to the USCS classification system, here you can see boulders are having the maximum size of greater than 300 mm, and if you take the gravel, it is in the range of 4.75 to 60 mm, and even sand is divided into 3, coarse, medium and fine, where the particle size is ranging from 0.075 to 4.75 mm or 75 micron to 4.75 mm. And silt size particle is definitely ranging from 2 micron to 75 micron, and if the particle size is less than 2 micron, then it is clay sized particle. Already you have studied all these aspects in the undergraduate level, so I am not going into the detail of this particle size distribution and testing and all. So here for the coarse fractions, we normally do the sieve analysis. So already you know what is sieve analysis. We have a set of sieves as per the standard for a known mesh aperture size, and the size of the particle is in terms of the size of the square opening. That will give the particular size of the particle, and you will weigh whatever mass retained in the sieve, and based on that you will find the particle size distribution. And for when you go for very fine particles, like for fine fractions for silt and clay, definitely you can't go with the sieve analysis. So in that case we go for the sedimentation method because of the fineness of the particle. Generally we do the hydrometer method to find the particle size distribution. So here what you do is, you know that it works according to the Stokes law, the settlement velocity of a particular sphere. Based on that you get the particle size. So all this aspect you can refer, you can go back to your undergraduate level and you can study what is the sieve analysis and what is the hydrometer analysis and all, to just get a brief idea about this, how you find the particle size distribution. But rather than the test part, it is very important to see the analysis part. That means how you find or how you infer that from the particle size distribution about a particular soil. An interesting point here is, if you see the clay mineral particle, here we compare it with the diameter of a spherical particle. But obviously, if you see a clay particle, it is always plate shaped, and you cannot have the diameter of a clay particle very equivalent to a sphere. So in such cases, all these dimensions or all these particle sizes are relative, because you cannot confidently say that it is the clay particle is like it is having a spherical particle. It's all based on the assumptions of the Stokes law that we are considering the sediments or the small particles as spherical shaped particles. So here this is a typical particle size distribution curve, and based on the this curve, here you can see the soil is classified as gravel, sand and fines. Fines means it is clay or silt. So here on the x-axis we plot the particle size. That means the diameter of the mesh opening, or if the sedimentation analysis, then you know how you are finding it. So that is plotted on the x-axis in the logarithmic scale, and you have the percentage finder on the y-axis. And what are the important parameters in this particular curve is these parameters: D60, D50, D30 and D10. So what is D60? That means 60% particles are finer than that particular size, that is D60. Similarly, D50 means 50% particles are finer than that particular size. And similarly, that is how you find the D30 as well as the D10. Now let us see what is the significance of this D60, D50, D30 and D10. So the quantitative representation of grain size distribution is using this D60, D50, D30 and D10. So here, what is D50? It is the mean particle size. So to get the mean particle size of a particular entire soil pack, you must know the D50. And D10 is the effective grain size. And coefficient of uniformity Cu is obtained using the expression D60 by D10. And the coefficient of curvature Cc is obtained using this expression here, D30 square by D60 into D10. So from the grain size, the curve itself, you can judge what is the type of soil. So if a particular soil, it has a narrow range of particles, then definitely it is a uniformly graded soil or a poorly graded soil. But if it has a wide set of sizes, particle sizes, then it will be a well graded soil. And if the particle size of a particular range is missing, then you call it as a gap graded soil. So generally for well graded category, the Cc must be between 1 and 3, and the Cu value must be greater than 4 for sand and must be greater than 6 for gravel. Now here you have a typical grain size distribution curve. So the x-axis based on the grain diameter, you are classifying with as fines, sands, gravel, and the some particles greater than gravel, then it moves to cobbles, then boulders. So here you can see a very good S-shaped curve. It is the well graded soil, and a curve which is parallel to the y-axis is a uniformly graded soil, and the curve for some of the portion, the curve is almost parallel to x-axis, or it is a flatter curve which is leaning towards x-axis, then that indicates a gap graded soil. So now how will you relate the grain size distribution with the formation of the soil? So the important points I would like to mention here are: wind and water deposit soils are generally poorly graded because of the sorting of grains during the transportation. So if you find a soil as poorly graded, then you can definitely say that it is transported either by the wind or water. Now soils transported by gravity and glacier, they undergo little sorting and they are usually well graded. And obviously residual soil, the soil which you directly find from its parent location, it will be well graded, as there is no sorting taking place in such kinds of soils. Now, what are the effect of particle size and distribution on the soil behavior? So first point is, when the average particle size is decreasing, then definitely the porosity of the soil increases. That is the reason why fine grained soil have a high porosity compared to the coarse grained soil. Now another point is, if you take a well graded soil, then it can be packed, densely packed, because it has the same amount, it has all the range of particles. So the small particles occupy the voids of the larger particles, and you have a high dense mix or soil if it is well graded. So that is the reason why whenever we compact a soil, we make sure that the soil in field for any construction activity, we make sure that entire soil, either the soil in the field, or if you are getting some fill material, you ensure that it is having good gradation. Similarly, if the particle size is comparatively larger, you have a very high shearing resistance, and definitely the modulus value will also be high. For example, gravel is having higher shear resistance and modulus when compared to sand, and in sand again, coarse sand have higher phi and modulus when compared to fine sand. So that is one aspect of particle size. And another aspect of grading, if you see, for well graded soil, always the shear strength is high and modulus is also high compared to the poorly graded soil. So now another aspect is the permeability. So definitely the particle size increases means permeability will be high. That is the reason why gravels are always having high permeability compared to sand. Again, in sand, coarse sand is more permeable compared to fine sand. And if you see the poorly graded soil, the permeability, poorly graded soils have higher permeability compared to the well graded soil. And that is the reason why well graded soils are more susceptible to internal erosion or piping than uniformly graded soil. Also, when subjected to higher compressive stresses, the particles with larger particles tend to crush and they become smaller particles. So for larger particles, definitely the compressive strength decreases when their shear strength decreases when they are subjected to more and more normal stresses. So that's all about the particle morphology as well as the particle size and particle size distribution and their effect on soil behavior. So in the next class, we will discuss about the effect on the stiffness effect on the soil behavior. Okay, thank you.